Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's product showcase. Steve Dotto here. How the heck are you doing this fine day? Oh, good heavens. We are live here at Dotto Tech for the second, well, actually, I guess it's the third, but the second of our product showcases when we're actually doing them kind of full-time-y type thing. Oops, let me just turn down the volume on this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome.
There we go. I'm auditing us today on my iPad Pro as opposed to my notebook, which is the way I've done it before. I'm trying to get more and more, trying to use the iPad Pro more and more. So welcome, everybody. I've got a connection here. I see you all coming into the room. We've got a whole whack of people online already. We've got Michelle there. How you doing? And Curtis and Rick and Andre, all of you coming in. Andre from Robert from Columbus, Ohio. Welcome. So this week's product showcase is I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to every week. I kind of have to start with that. We're going to be taking a look at Thinkific, which has become such an integral part of our business here at Dotto Tech. They're one of our most important business partners, one of our most important revenue partners, because so much of our revenue comes from the online courses that we produce. But online courses go so much deeper than just, selling courses. There are so many different ways that you can utilize them. There's so many ways that you can use them. It is, there is just, they're deep waters that we're going to be covering today. So let me give you an idea. If this is your first time with one of our product showcases, let me fill you in on how we do them and what to expect coming up today so you can plan accordingly. I'm going to continue to welcome people in to allow people to get into the room right now. If you are in the room commenting and saying hello and let me know where you're from, that is awesome. There's an ulterior motive. The more traffic, the more comments that are happening, the more YouTube thinks this is a happening thing, the more they share it out to the rest of the community. So not only that, giving us a thumbs up and even a share if you want, sharing it to your community really helps us get the momentum going for the product showcase. So I encourage you to do that as much as possible. Help us get the word out. With our product showcase, I pre-record a demonstration of the product so you can see in detail the product that we are talking about. Now, in that pre-recorded demo, I also interview, in this case, one of the founders of Thinkific, Greg Smith, and we talk a little bit about the culture of the product as well as the benefits of the product. The product showcase is subtitled, Discover Great Products and Meet the People Behind Them. This is really important. I believe that there's a bit of a backlash happening in the world to all of the bots where you never get to know anybody at the companies that you're dealing with. And I still think that business is based on relationships. And I get the opportunity because of this YouTube channel to meet all these great people that create these great products and understand the passion and the drive and the direction that they're going in. And I wanted to create the opportunity for my community, for you folks, to meet them as well. So that's the basis of the product showcase. There's a great interview with Greg as we talk about the product, talk about the genesis of Thinkific, where they're going, what they've learned from having thousands of customers creating online courses. And while that's going on, we're going to be in chat. Greg's team from Thinkific, Patty, McGill, and my team from Dotto Tech, we're all in chat. So you get to talk to real people, ask real questions, solve real problems as we go along through the pre-recorded part. But then as soon as the pre-record is done, Greg is going to be joining us live, and actually some members of his team will join us live to answer more detailed questions. So you should go away from this product showcase knowing more about Thinkific than you knew before, knowing what it does for you, and also understanding the company itself. Is this a company that you're comfortable doing business with? I certainly am. I want you to have the same comfort level. And if you do start to do business, I want you to have a relationship with that company. Somebody that you can reach out to say, hey, this is working for me. I have a question about this. I have a problem here. I want you to have a relationship because ultimately, as I said, business is still based on relationships. And this rush, I've got nothing against bots and automation services. Don't get me wrong. We use them. I like them. But at the end of the day, the companies that I deal with, I need to know. And I know Thinkific, and I want you to know Thinkific as well. So that is what we're going to be doing. So in just a few minutes here, I'll give it a couple more minutes. I'll take a look through the chat and see who all's here. In just a couple of minutes now, I will run the pre-record. It's about a 26-minute video that we produced where I show you the basis of how Thinkific works and how we use it, and we talk to Greg about the product itself. So I see a bunch of familiar faces and some new faces here. By the way, for those of you who are technically interested, which so much of our community is, We are delivering the product showcase today using Ecamm Live on the Mac. I'm running a Mac Mini here, feeding Ecamm Live, using Ecamm Live as a live switching tool. Greg and his team will be joining us by Skype for their live portion, but Ecamm manages that entire communication, allowing us to bring everybody in. And I use it as a switch. I'll actually be delivering the video through it as well. So, how are we doing? Oh, Carl's telling me that he purchased a new Epson printer. That's good. We did a story on the Epson printer just a little while ago. Gord Wood, hi. How you doing, Gord? Holy cow. Gord, you're calling from Australia? That's got to be like 3 in the morning there or something, isn't it? That's ridiculous. Next week's guest, by the way, I should say that. Next week, I think we are doing the product showcase a little bit later in the day. It's going to be on the Thursday, but we're starting about 3 or 4 hours from now because our guest is coming in from Australia. We're going to be showing Bonjoro, which is a very cool email communication, a video email tool, which I really, really like. Post a link to Ecamm. Let me grab the link to Ecamm right now. Actually, I'll get Liz to do that. Liz, grab the affiliate link to Ecamm because this is all about making sales too. And if you can drop the affiliate link to Ecamm in, that would be awesome. It's in the Evernote affiliate link file. So Liz is actually posting under Dotto Tech. That's not me posting all the time. That's Liz. Although I will be doing some of the posting here as well. Well, everything looks good. We've got 75 people on board. I'll get you guys once more. Give us a thumbs up if you think that this is going to be awesome. Share this video with others to let them know. And I think it's about time that we jump in and have a look at the video. What do you say? You ready for the video? You ready for it? I am. All right. So this is me showing you Thinkific and introducing you to our guest today, Greg Smith. Sit back, enjoy the video. We'll see you in about 26 minutes live. Meantime, we'll move everything into the chat. Right, let's get into Thinkific. Big part of our business here at Dotto Tech. We host all of our online courses at Thinkific. We have for, I guess it's a little bit over 3 years now. We've been using it, and so we've got a lot of time and energy invested in Thinkific, both from a revenue side and also from a list building and community side. We use Thinkific in a variety of different ways. So let's just boil back to the basics. Thinkific is an LMS, a learning management system or learning management software that allows us to host digital courses. It gives us the environment that we need to create the digital content that we deliver for an online course and then administer and manage the delivery of that content to the students. So it's fairly sophisticated in that aspect. But what's unique is the fact that you can set up your first online courses for free. Access to most of the different features and tools are available for you to test out for free, to learn the direction you're going, and to kind of get your feet wet. Because let's be honest, setting up an online course is a bit of a long journey. It takes time. I mean, you've got your all of the faculty you have to have as far as creating your content and understanding the message and then the challenges created with the content side of the course. Then you've got the marketing side of the course where you actually have to get people to sign up and take the course and make sure that you actually have students in the seats. And then you've got the administration of the course, the managing the entire process. So there's 3 fairly large learning curves that we all have to go through. Now, fortunately, Thinkific assists us in each one of those aspects. Let's dive in and take a look. I'm just going to take you on a quick tour of kind of the top level things that happen at Thinkific, and from there we can go on. I've got most of my content is at Dotto Tech U. That's what I called my Thinkific account. So think of Thinkific as it's a online service, a software service. But all of your courses are contained within, it's like a website, having your own website or having your own community that you can manage all of your content in, but you can host multiple courses. So we set up a master account, which in my case, I call Dotto Tech U, and into that, I deliver a variety of different courses. And in each of those courses, of course, we have different modules within the course. So it's a multi-layered system. This is the dashboard, the main dashboard, which once you've set up, you will go into. And I've got about 15,000 students now taking different content, taking different courses within Thinkific, which if you stop and think about it, is pretty freaking awesome. That many people that are learning things that are enriching their lives. Some of them are also enriching us, so I appreciate that. Down the left-hand side, once you've got your Thinkific modules, your Thinkific account set up, you've got access to your main areas: managing your learning content, designing your site, marketing and selling your site, and supporting your students. And each one of these are important for you to get a grasp of. Let's start though just with the learning content, your courses themselves. And here is a list of all of the courses that I've created within Thinkific. And if we go into any one of these courses, and let's take one that is quite popular for me. It's a quick start guide. It's called my Evernote Quick Start Guide. When I take a look here, I can see all of the main structure of the course itself. Now, this course is not a course that we've been selling, but it is what we call a list builder. It is a course that we created to introduce people to how to use Evernote, but also to introduce them to Dotto Tech and to get them to sign up for our newsletter, to take more of our courses, and ultimately possibly to buy something for us. Now, let's go into the course content itself so you can see the main structure, because this is where most people are going to be this is where you spend most of your time at the beginning, at least within Thinkific, is actual content creation. So what we see here is we see an HTML interface. It's like you're working on a web page, because that's exactly what you're doing, is you're building web pages that contain your course content. Now, for most of us, most of that content is going to be videos. So when you create and record a video, you can either upload it to Thinkific and they will host it for you, or you can store the videos on your own service and then use embed codes to put the content into your course. Now, we can add different modules to our courses using this tool on the left-hand side here. You see we add lessons, and those are modules which can be video, quizzes, multimedia, text, surveys, PDFs to upload, audio content, downloading content, presentations, exams, or assignments. So you've got all of those different formats that you can create your course with. Another kind of key thing to understand is this is kind of stepping over to the marketing space away from the course content creation space for just a moment. But when you create any module, you can make it a free preview lesson. What's a preview lesson? It's a great technique you can use if you're selling an online course to allow people to take the first module or first two modules of the course, or lessons of the course, I call them modules, but the first lessons of the course for free before they pay to take the rest of the content. So it's kind of a test drive that people can do, which is a great sales tool if you're confident in your content. You can also make it a prerequisite, as they have to complete this content before they get the next piece of content. You start to get the picture of the organizational structure. Now, as far as the content structure itself goes, here we've got a basic formatting of a web page where you create different, you add graphics, you do formatting of text, and you create the structure of your online course. And you can see this one here is a quick start guide. So I've got all of the different action points, the key takeaways, and the videos all laid out. Now, this is what it looks like to me as a content creator. As I'm editing it, I can go in and edit any of these points. We can also at any point preview what the course is going to look like by going and taking a look at what the student sees of the course as they go through it. And this is what the course looks like to students as they go through my Evernote Quick Start Guide. A lot of people fail in using Evernote because they try and do too much. So this course has done exceptionally well for us. We've got dozens of 5-star reviews for it, and it's introduced many, many people to the Dotto Tech community. In fact, some of you out there now might have first discovered us because we promote this Quick Start Guide quite heavily. So that gives you an idea of some of the type of content that you can create within Thinkific. Let me just go back for a moment, and let's imagine that we're creating a brand new course. And let's just go in and let's see what happens when you start a course from scratch. When you create a new course, this is one of the things that I really appreciate about Thinkific, is they create a lot of structure. They give us the ability to take the content that we know and to apply it into a format, because we often hit kind of writer's block or course creator's block, not knowing exactly how to proceed. But Thinkific has done a tremendous amount of research in order to help us understand the the structure that courses should have. And we can see here that even at the beginning, right from the very beginning, is this going to be a mini course? Is this going to be a pre-sale course, a flagship course? In other words, a big meaty course that has all of the functionality built into it. Is it just going to be a simple digital download or a reference library, or is it a webinar replay, which we do a lot of here at Dotto? So this gives you the basic structure before you start. So let's say it's going to be a webinar replay. We choose it. I'm going to call it webinar replay. And we are off to the races. We create the course, and it now gives us a template. It says, okay, how to use this resource guide, which is nice. And they've spent a lot of time. It's kind of meta, isn't it? That they've spent a lot of time in their course creation software teaching us how to create courses. That's the way it is. But here we see it. So if you walk through this process, you can be sure that you're hitting all of the major touch points in creating your online course. And that's just the sophistication that they've done to the course creation module. And this functionality extends through to tools to help us learn about the marketing of the course and to learn about the administration, or to manage the administration of the course. Now, Thinkific was created, it came out of the imagination of someone I consider my friend, Greg Smith, who is a lawyer here in Vancouver. His background is as a lawyer. Don't judge him harshly, but as a lawyer. And I can still remember, I was introduced to it. I had lunch. Greg invited me to meet with him, and we had lunch one day, and he filled me in on his course creation tool. And I got to admit, I was a little bit skeptical about the potential of a new online course tool, but Greg was passionate about it.
It was initially solving my own problem, and then very, very quickly solving the problem of a whole bunch of people reaching out to me. And I think we actually got lucky in that a lot of software companies start out building a solution and then trying to find people who have the problem. We started out where I got really to a point where I'm like, okay, that's like the 20th call I've received from someone saying, can you build this for me? And we just decided we'd build it. So, because I had my own online course, right? I was teaching that online LSAT course. I had asked my brother to build a solution for me so that I could have my own site, my own brand, my own course, my own data, my own customers, my own revenue, and really build a brand and a business around what I wanted to teach. And so he built that for me, and the initial version was terrible. It was really difficult to use and stuff, but it didn't matter because the student side was great. The back end for me was a disaster, but I was willing to put up with it. But then people started calling and saying, how'd you do it? I want to do something just like what you did. Can you create something like that for us? And to meet that exact need of your site, your brand, your course, your data, your customers, your revenue, there's LMSs out there, but there wasn't a solution that met this need of really being e-commerce and business meets education.
That philosophy of how Thinkific was created is core to really understanding Thinkific. Once you start using it, you'll quickly determine the flexibility and discover new opportunities about how you can apply it in your life. I mean, typically speaking, when we start looking at an LMS, we're thinking about a course. We're thinking about a simple, structured course where we're going to teach something either for free or sell it. We've got an employee orientation. We're teaching them about a product. We're teaching them about a service. We're teaching a skill. All of those things, of course, are right in the sweet spot of what Thinkific does. But after you use it for a little while, you will suddenly be sparked with imagination of new ways to use it. For example, when we were using it, we quickly realized that it could replace membership software on our website. So in order to have people register and become a member of the Dotto Tech community, we could use Thinkific as a base for that community instead of using a different WordPress membership site-based service, which allows us to control communication with the community and delivery of content far more effectively as far as we're concerned.
Well, opening our eyes and taking the platform we've built and really surprised us in a couple of ways. I mean, there's one on the content side, and then there's another on just what they've been able to do with it. And one of the really cool things is, rather than some of the other software tools out there, we've taken this approach of being an open platform, meaning that you can take what we've built, which we want to make that something easy to use, meets all of your needs. But if you want to build on top of it, add to it, customize it, change completely the way it looks and feels, you can do that. And so where I get most surprised is when I see people and they'll hook up with one of our partners and they'll do a bunch of customization to it, and it comes back completely unrecognizable. Like, I will look at a site or I'll be taking a course and I'm like, this isn't Thinkific, is it? And I look behind this, I figure out that it is. And I'm just blown away by how far people will take it and how much you can actually customize it. And the other is I've constantly been blown away on the content side of what works. Hula hooping. There's a lady in Australia who's built an empire around teaching people to hula hoop, or making custom jewelry in your work shed. Then you got the more serious topics, like there's actually a guy here in Vancouver who's doing exceptionally well, built a whole team. I think he's got 20 or 30 employees, and he just teaches people corporate finance. It's amazing the breadth of topics.
I wonder how many people watching this video right now have thought about doing an online course and not started, or taken the first steps into creating an online course, but not completed it for any reason. And I asked Greg if he could think of what the common bumps in the road were that stop content creators from completing their course.
I like the way you said it, sort of like bumps in the road, or we look at it as this journey. So the first one I see is a mindset issue, really, around failure to start, or I'm not ready, I don't have time, I'll do it one day. And I think this is typical of anyone in business. We all kind of hit this mindset roadblock at points. It can come back to perfectionism or motivation. The best way I've found to combat that is actually what my brother told me when we first got started. Is I wanted to make this beautiful 180-hour course, and he said, you got 30 days. I'm launching whatever you've built in 30 days.
This is such good advice that it's easy to give to others, but hard to do ourselves. The concept of done is better than perfect. Remember, when you launch a course, when you deliver content to the community, you can change that content. You can edit it. This is an iterative process. It's not locked in stone once you deliver a course. So you have the ability to get feedback from the community and then improve the quality of the course as you go along.
So rather than me spending a year producing something people were going to give feedback on anyway, I got something out, I got the feedback, and then I was able to iterate and improve. Plus, I now had the motivation that I knew students liked it, they were learning from it, they were getting value, and I was generating revenue. So that all the motivation I needed was there. Yeah, if you're not a little embarrassed by what you're shipping, you've probably waited too long to ship it. And actually, to that note, so we've built a few features recently that help people get over this. So one is just the pre-launch page. So you can, in a few minutes, set up a pre-launch page automatically and then drop it. And really, you're just, you're sharing it on Facebook or Instagram and saying, I'm thinking about doing this course, or this course is coming. Sign up here if you're interested. And that helps you build that early motivation and interest around your course before you've even invested the effort of building it. So it's a great way to kind of get over that early hump. Sometimes people get intimidated by technology or setting everything up. And so that's really where we've dug in and we try and solve all of these roadblocks either through education or support or assistance or technology. The tech one is one where we've really tried to dive in and make our platform easy to use, easy to get started, but it'll scale with you. So as you grow, we actually find people will graduate from other platforms to us because they're looking to take their course further. But really just trying to make it super easy. And then on top of that, we have the whole support team here. So when people get stuck, we're here to help them out if they're not as comfortable with, getting their course set up and running and launched. So we do things like a pre-launch review where you say, okay, we think we're ready to go, and we'll look through it and help you out and make sure you're all ready to launch.
That investment in helping creators get over the different roadblocks and to structure their course and have a smooth content creation process is invaluable. I have to tell you, as a course content creator, just, from the confidence of when I start a new course, knowing that the template that I'm creating is going to work with the ultimate goal of my course, choosing whether it's going to be a flagship course or a mini course right at the beginning. And then once I've created the course and started work on it, the feedback that they give you at each stage that sparks your imagination, how to use the different templates, giving you notes of best practices, even when you just go to add a new chapter, a new lesson to your course, seeing the different types of media that you have available. All of that feedback helps keep the ball moving, sparks imagination, and helps me personally overcome any course creator's block that might occur.
Yeah, and it's exactly that. We have these templates. So if you're doing a mini course, or you can pick what kind of course. Are you going to do a mini course? Are you doing your big flagship course? Are you doing something that's going to be drip released over time? And then you click that template and we kind of autofill it for you and then tell you what to plug into each space. So it gives you kind of a blueprint basically to go and build your course.
The more time you spend with any product, the more you kind of understand the real key benefits that that product have for you. So I asked Greg, who should probably know better than anyone else, what are the real gems that people aren't using enough within Thinkific? What are the features within Thinkific that he wishes more content creators understood the value of?
Groups and coupons and how those work with our link generator. So you can generate a link to a course, add a coupon onto it potentially, and add a group onto it. And so you can send this out, and then when people sign up to the course through that, they're automatically getting whatever discount you wanted to offer, if you wanted to offer it.
Greg took us now from the course content side into the marketing side of Thinkific, which we should have spent more time on, frankly, already up to this point. But if we go here in our dashboard into the market and sales side of Thinkific, we get a feel for all of the different tools that Greg's talking about, starting with coupons, where you can create discount coupons and discount codes for people to register for courses. And then they've got a whole series of these sales widgets, which allow you to create embed codes to create sales embeds in for different websites. So you can create either links that include all of the different discounts that Greg is talking about, but you can also, let me just here, turn on the product image. You can also set up these kind of nice little banner ads that you can import into email or into websites so that you can market your course more effectively. While we're on this topic, looking at the marketing and sales side, he talked a little bit about emailing and communicating with your community. There's a whole variety of integrations built within Thinkific as well, which are tremendously important, from things like Stripe and PayPal for accepting payments, all the way through to, in our case, we use Infusionsoft so that Thinkific integrates with our CRM, so we know what customers are purchasing from us, and we have a lot more control over messaging and communicating with them. And sometimes we use Infusionsoft for that, but there's also the ability to email right within Thinkific to our students should we choose to.
This is actually probably the most underutilized area of the app. Is if you go into the users table and you look at the advanced filters and bookmarks, you can filter by dozens of variables, and then you can combine them in all sorts of different ways. So you could look at, I want to see everybody who signed up over the last month but has not purchased, or everybody who signed up more than a month ago and hasn't logged in within the last 2 weeks.
Two last things that I wanted to cover with Greg. And first is he gets to look at so many content creators. I was wondering, what is the common kind of attitude that course creators have who are successful?
It's the people who are willing to charge ahead and they're okay with making some mistakes. I mean, you must see this in all of the technology you've taught. There's a mindset of, well, I'll just click on things until I figure out how it works and get it figured out. I'll just build something and get it out there. I'll just use it and I'm not so worried if I fail. That's your attitude of, I can figure this out. I'll just play with it. It's that attitude of like, I can just figure it out. And it's less so about the technology these days, because that's getting easier and easier, although that's part of it. It's also, I think, about, I'll just figure out how to market it, or I'll just try some stuff and put it on Facebook and see if that works and learn from it. I'll just start shooting a video and figure out, okay, the lighting was off, but I'll try again.
My last question, as always, is about the culture of the company. What is Thinkific like as a company? Now, I'm fortunate living in Vancouver, where Thinkific is based. I've got to know many of the people who work with Greg at Thinkific, and we've got a great relationship. But I wanted him to tell us about the corporate culture.
And so one of those things that we're very big on is inclusivity, equality. One of our core values, it's up on our walls here everywhere. It's got stickers on my laptop around this inclusivity and equality. And we really, you can say it, but we really live it. In fact, over half of our team is women. Over half of our leadership team is women. We represent cultures from around the world, religions from around the world, all different sexualities. It's really a very inclusive, open culture. So that's one piece. And I think that even goes to, the openness of all the people around the world that we work with. And one thing we say about our core values, if it's not something we're willing to give up revenue, sacrifice revenue, or, have it cost us something, then it's not really a core value. So we're really big on ethics and integrity. And there's certainly been many occasions over the years where we could have taken one route that would have been a little less ethical, but made us more money, or the other route that was the ethical path to take. and we've always gone down the ethical path, even at cost to ourselves. We're really big on celebrating successes, whether that's, internally as a team or with our clients, or celebrating the success of our clients. And I'd say one of the biggest things is we're super driven to client success. And that's where it starts to bleed out of Thinkific and into the culture around us and the people we work with. Is the reason we've always had a very large support team, often larger than we've needed to meet the core demands, often more expensive than we've needed. And why everyone in our company kind of participates in talking to customers and support is we care so much about the success of our customers. And so in not just in how we support people, but the product we build, everything we build is really focused around the success of our customers. So even if you walk into the office and you see our goals for the year up on the wall, 2 of the top goals are around customer success and how can we make our customers more successful. And that goes into every feature we build being about how we make you more successful.
And I can't think of a better point to wrap things up on. All right, I am back now. I'll get Greg to unmute his mic and we'll bring him on in just a second. But great chat, great conversations going on. I didn't know that Thinkific was already sharing information about the membership site beta, so I'm thrilled that Greg brought it up. I was biting my tongue saying, oh, is that NDA? I didn't remember if it was still something that's in the back room, but that's something exciting that we will talk more about in just a few moments. Let me give you an idea of what's going to happen now for the rest of today. Or for the rest of our live stream. In a few moments now, I'll bring Greg in and we will start to answer your questions. As well, I'm going to bring Patty in and he's going to fill you in on the kind of the special offer that Thinkific has for the Dotto tech community, because they've put together a great package for us today that we will let you know about and show you how you can access it. And just so you know, the heart of the offers that I'm asking these companies to present to our community includes giving you better support, kind of concierge service, helping you onboard, helping you understand to utilize the tools. I think if we can tell you these tools work and we can show you and you know you have a use case, the missing link then is the support that you need in the initial stages to get started and to get over those initial roadblocks and humps. And that's what the package that Patty and Greg have put together for us today will take a look like. So we'll be sharing that with you in just a few moments. So let's say, and then this will be, once this video is finished, we'll be leaving it on YouTube, so you can return to this at any point and watch the live stream again. But we're going to also be taking that interview section that we did with Greg in the demo, and we'll be posting that as a separate YouTube video as well if you need to reference it at some point in the future. So let's see if it's all going to work now. Let's bring Greg on live. How you doing, Greg? Can you hear me? Can I hear you? Have you unmuted? Oh, he's probably watching it in the live, and so he's a little bit behind. Greg, I've got you live now. You can start talking. Oh, go ahead.
Hi.
There you are. Good. I guess
Sorry,
that's
the delay. I'm switching between YouTube and.
I just realized you were probably watching it on YouTube, so you got this whole business
here.
of going, okay, when am I up? I think he's going to come to me in a second. Thanks a lot for that. That was great. How did you enjoy being in the chat? Can you hear me okay? Are you there? You were there a minute ago. You can't hear me. Just a second.
My Skype says you're muted, Steve, but like on Skype or on the.
In here I'm muted? You're muted on Skype.
Okay, I'll show off my unicorn shirt while we're waiting.
That's okay. You can.
My daughter got it for me. It's she's got a unicorn dress, a rainbow unicorn dress, so I had to have a rainbow unicorn shirt.
Okay, I'm just haven't listened to my audit thing here. A minute ago, you can't. Oh no, I'm here. So
Steve,
you can't hear me on Skype.
on Skype.
I see the problem. There it is. I was muted on Skype, and I muted me on Skype. That's the problem. Now they could hear me, but you couldn't. Still learning that. We're still learning the best switches to have turned on and off in Ecamm Live. But there you go. You got to see the
but
real
this is
world.
awesome. Like I think this whole experience is awesome. It's funny. I find when we do things like this, half the questions are like, how are you doing all this stuff? So cool to go from like your lot.
Oh, you just cut out. I just lost Greg. That is interesting.
Okay, now I'm not muted.
There you go. Were you
Okay.
playing with something? Hey, okay, so we're back. Now we're ready for questions. So what we'll do is we'll answer a few questions, get a couple of the low-hanging fruit questions done, and then we'll bring Patty on, which I'm now nervous to do because this was so smooth. We'll bring Patty on. We'll fill people
Steve's
in
still
on the
muted
offer.
in Skype. It seems to keep muting you in Skype for some reason.
It does, eh? It keeps muting. My mic gets muted for you? Does my mic get muted for you, Greg?
We'll get this. We'll get it.
Well, that's funny. That's funny. I wonder what's going on there. Okay, well, let's deal with a couple of questions. And the first thing I want you to talk about is you alluded to. There was a question from. Okay, let's deal with the Ice Caper one right away, which was Ice Caper asked about white labeling and how the white labeling works. Can you just talk briefly about how people customize the site so it doesn't even look like Thinkific? Nope. So what is going on? So are you losing me? Yeah, obviously. Let me go back.
Maybe try just going right into Skype and unmuting. I don't know if you tried that or if that works.
I'm unmuted in Skype. Oh, there it is. Am I muted again in Skype? There we go. You should be able to hear me now.
I can. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry. So let's. Maybe it was because I had that window open. I don't know. We'll keep our eye on it. Hopefully, you can keep hearing me. So the question, the first question that we had was a question came from Ice Caper, who was asking about white labeling of the product. And can you talk a little bit about what you can do so you can make it look like completely your own product and not like Thinkific at all?
Yeah, I mean that is one of the core things that we offer is that ability for you to totally brand it your own. And so you can change obviously you can put on your logo and your colors and your imagery and all your own language, but you also get to stick it on your own domain name. So really the experience, it can be part of your existing website or it could be your website. So it's really up to you as to how far you want to take that. But right out of the gate, you can set it up so it's right there on your own domain with your own look and feel, your own brand, your own logo, your own messaging. So it's very much white labelable. In fact, I meant that on the interview where I've found myself taking a course in something and I get partway through, I'm like, is this Thinkific? I don't think so. But people have just taken it so far that I can't even tell if it's us.
The next question is I think a great one. It's from I think it's Suri Singh. How accessible is the platform for assistive technology? Does it work with screen readers like JAWS, NVIDIA, and Narrator?
Right. So would that be for like accessibility?
Yeah.
I think for someone who say is visually impaired or otherwise, we are investing heavily in this. So everything is not absolutely perfect yet, but we've been working on this throughout the last year, and we currently have an audit under. So we've gotten it to a place where we think we've done everything we can kind of do at this point, but we're undergoing an audit by a professional firm that focuses on accessibility, and then they're going to get back to us with anything more we need to do, and we'll finish that up. So yes, we're continuing to improve on it.
Good stuff. And Cheryl asked a question which I know you answered in chat, but I think is well worth having a quick conversation about. Crucial for me is to have quizzes and certificates given when we quiz. Given when a quiz is successfully passed. Can you give a summary of how that works?
Yeah, of course. So actually one of the first courses we had on Thinkific was for lawyers, and they would have to go through, take a quiz, and then they would get their certificate for their continuing legal education. So that's something that's always been really well built in. And so you can have certificates or you can have custom certificates that issue automatically when someone finishes the program, and then you can determine what the requirements are to get there. So if it's as simple as taking a quiz or an exam, they pass that. You can make it required that they pass it, and then they get the certificate automatically, and you can even customize that certificate. But that's literally a couple of clicks to set up.
So that opens the door for an entirely different type of online course than the social media marketing kind of content marketing type courses that we're talking about. For professional development, where there are responsibilities that accountants or lawyers or all sorts of different professions have, if you are certified in that space and you have expertise in that space, you can create course content and you can meet their professional requirements, which I have to think makes it a lot easier to make money on this sort of thing because they have to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And I've seen a lot of people do continuing professional development type courses, career advancement courses, in anything from law and accounting, corporate finance, or tons of other areas, even, massage therapy, all sorts of things, yoga training. But you're right in that when you have a case where people are taking this to either advance their career or it's required for their continuing professional education, it becomes, you kind of have this built-in marketing channel. So that stuff can be amazing as another business model.
Now, I'm going to definitely butcher this name. Is Shushu? Shushbu?
Kushu?
Can you take a run at it? It's okay. Any possibilities with live streaming classes? So how does live streaming integrate within the Thinkific cloud?
Yeah, and so my theory on this is we want to be really good at what we're the best at and leave other niche areas for the people who are the best at that. So when you look at platforms like Zoom, YouTube Live and some of these other live streaming platforms, they focus just on that. That's all they do because it's a hard problem to solve. You really want to optimize for latency and bandwidth and like really great delivery and video quality. So we let them focus on that. And then it's really easy to just grab your Zoom or your YouTube Live or whatever you're doing and drop it into Thinkific and deliver it there. And in fact, with our new communities feature, you're going to be able to drop in your live streaming from wherever you're live streaming and have a whole community and discussion going on around it. So all of that kind of stuff is super cool. Plus, then you can have it paywall gated or group gated or member community gated where they're just participating in this community with the live stream. But we don't do the live stream natively ourselves just because the amount of investment we would put into that, we'd be sacrificing on other areas of actual, an online learning site that's your brand and your look and feel. So we want to be really good at what we're good at and leave the live streaming because it's so easy to just drop that in. So there wouldn't be a lot of value for us to go and do that.
Good stuff. I'm going to get Patty. Patty, fire up your camera and unmute your mic because I'm going to come to you right after this to talk about the offer that Thinkific has for our community. But the question that I'm going to take right now was asking about if we use Thinkific to create this video, and I can't remember who asked it. But just to let you know that the video that we shot with Greg, we recorded it, but just as we're doing right now in Skype, and we use Skype Call Recorder, which is another tool from the people at Ecamm Live. And I recorded both sides of the conversation, and then they have a tool that allows me to split those sides of the conversation into multiple video tracks. I then took that Greg's interview, I brought it in, and I recorded my part of the demo in ScreenFlow, which is a screencasting tool, very similar to Camtasia if you're in the Windows world. I recorded that, and I edited Greg's interview pieces into that. And then I took that rough cut and I sent it to Liz, who edited the rest of it and made it look really good by taking the entire composition into Premiere Pro and outputting the final result that you see here. So it was a bit of a process. The Premiere Pro stuff is a bit of a icing on the cake. You could do this all with screencasting software and Skype. You could get to the point of the type of video that we created. And to help you understand how to do that, we've got a free mini course on how we create our videos. It's called Creating Video in Less Time Than Writing a Blog. I'll get April to grab the link for that. It's ironically in Thinkific, but grab the link to that and drop it in, and you can register and you can go through that content and learn how we create our videos. It's a great simple little example of a simple little mini course that we use as a list builder. Of course, we'll get your email address as a result of that as well. So let's try this. I'm going to just try adding Patty. What happens if I just add Patty? I'm flying now, and there we have Patty on board. Can we hear you, Patty? You got to unmute your mic.
There we go. What about that, everyone?
There it is. And we can keep Greg on. This is great.
We keep Greg on.
This is the most ethnically undiverse panel that YouTube has ever seen. But Patty is here to share with us. So Patty is the what's your job title? You're the affiliate manager.
So, yeah, you got it.
The affiliate manager at Thinkific. So I work with Patty a lot on the business side of when we sell Thinkific, and you work as an affiliate, as one of their business partners. But Patty has put together this fantastic package for our community. I'm going to let him briefly explain it. And while he's doing that, Liz or April will drop the link in the chat so you can see what you can get if you decide that you want to get started with Thinkific and the bonus they have for the Dotto Tech community.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much for what an amazing live stream. Definitely taking some inspiration from you, Steve, from that. Definitely with the Skype, because I've been trying to figure out the best way how to do it for myself. But one of the offers, one of the key things we wanted you all to take away today is that we really want to make sure that you get the best possible start when it comes to creating your first or next online course with us. So for everyone that's joined us live, you're going to be getting a super special offer. So we're going to be giving away 3 months of Thinkific for the price of one month on our Pro and Growth plan. We're also going to be giving you access to group coaching calls that are going to be hosted by yours truly here. So we're going to tell you the key things that you need to remember when you're creating your course, validating your topic, making sure that really your course sells even before you go out and create all the curriculum way in advance. Because one of the biggest mistakes that people make is that when you're creating they'll spend tons of time creating the content, but don't necessarily validate that people want to actually buy your course. So we're gonna tell you exactly what you need to do, and so the link is going to be in the description. You get access to 3 months on Thinkific Pro and Growth for the price of one. You get group coaching with me, and then you also get access to what we call Thinkific benefits. So you get additional training, additional support along the way.
We got to do this. Just humor me. Big Blue is saying I was thinking monkeys, but I'll go with wise men with us lined up here. Let's do it. I'll do the eyes, Greg do the mouth, and Patty do the ears, and somebody take a screenshot. Okay, hold it for a second. Okay, that should be good enough. We kind of had to do it. I don't know. Well, I'm sure it'll appear somewhere in social.
Yeah, absolutely. I want a copy. I'll put my LinkedIn later. I'll take it on Steve.
Well, Patty, thanks so much. So we won't spend too much time talking about the offer. It's all described in a great blog post or a great page that Patty's put together. But the key is, folks, it's the onboarding and the community support, being able to get into those live streams, ask the questions. Sometimes all it takes to get going and to get your course completed is overcoming one simple roadblock, and it's perspective. We get into the weeds when we develop a course, and it's hard for us to see what we're doing. Somebody else's perspective on the outside is ever so valuable. And the folks at Thinkific have dealt with so many course creators. You understand what it takes to get people to the finish line, because ultimately they want you to get your course published and up there. Recognizing that done is better than perfect is such an important part of it. So easy for us to tell others, so hard to do ourselves. But being a part of the programs, these onboarding programs, is going to help significantly.
Yeah,
so there it is. The link.
And for the perfectionists out there, because I tend to be one, is done is better than perfect actually gets you closer to perfection faster anyway, because I've seen people literally spend a year perfecting the course before they launch it and get students into it, and then they get it out there, they put it in front of students, and they find out it wasn't perfect anyway, and now they're getting real feedback from the people who care. So the better thing, really, I always encourage people, give yourself a 30-day or 60-day deadline, or 14-day deadline if you're, not busy with any other stuff. I mean, 30 days for me, I was working full-time as a corporate and securities lawyer, like 60, 70-hour weeks. So I had a 30-day deadline to give myself a bit more time. But get it out there, and then you get this amazing feedback from people who start taking it, and that allows you to start improving in the right direction as opposed to just whatever you think is the right direction.
That was before the kids.
Yes, that was before kids. So, yeah.
Patty, I'm relegating you back to the sidelines. Thanks for the help.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Patty. It's awesome.
Appreciate it. So, Greg, let's get into a couple more questions here. The next question somebody had, actually very tactical, about Udo was saying he was having an issue with VAT. These sorts of problems must drive you crazy because they just require a little bit of exploration to solve.
Yeah, so VAT is definitely something that is, people who are in Europe or in some cases selling into Europe need to resolve. One thing I find about it, just as a precursor to so first of all, we can definitely help. There's ways we can help with that. But as a precursor to that, it's worth understanding if you actually do need to remit, if you're over thresholds, things like that, because sometimes I find people about all sales taxes they can be kind of freaking out about it and then not realize, like in Canada, if you're selling and you need to worry about things like GST and PST, there's often $30,000 thresholds before you even need to worry about that kind of stuff. And yet if you go register, then you kind of skip the threshold. So it's worth just understanding it so you don't end up spending a bunch of effort trying to figure it out before you, or even some places will automatically register for you and then you have to be remitting even if you're under the threshold. So it's better to just check out, make sure if you actually need to be remitting before you start freaking out about it. Then once you know that you do need to remit, then we have tools and ways that you can go and track and remit that stuff. But it shouldn't be something that holds you back from doing it at all.
And I like how as we were going through the chat, Udo posted the problem, but some other people who are in Europe were commenting back saying right away, I think Jonathan was saying that he's handling it with no problem. It's really helpful to put content creators, course creators together because they solve each other's problems so much. Where's the best place for that? Is your Facebook group the best place? Where do course creators get to have a conversation that allows them to talk to other creators, not necessarily needing support from you guys, but more on the marketing side and the stuff that they can kind of understand each other's challenges?
Yeah, well, as that starting point, the link in the offer that we have today actually puts you into a group coaching scenario. So now you have other people who are going through it at the same time as you, plus you have the benefit of us helping you through that. So that's a great place to start. Also our Facebook group, so you can jump in there, and then get help from other course creators. And Udo, if you reach out, it looks like you're over the threshold or you've checked that out. Happy to chat and try and help you get whatever concerns you have resolved around that.
And it's really getting the payment systems right. It's not so much Thinkific, but it's the payment, whatever Stripe or PayPal or whatever you're using for payments at that point, getting that set up correct. Am I right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Next question that we had. Oh, I know it's important. What was it? Oh, you dropped the idea of you. I didn't know you guys were publicly sharing the idea of the membership site, and this is. I shudder to use the term game changer.
It's the big announcement here. I'm Gary in product marketing is going to kill me when he gets back from Europe.
So do you want to talk about it right now?
Yeah. We can talk about it. We can talk about it. Some people already have access to it. It's super exciting.
Because here's the thing. Let me explain to the community exactly what's going on here. Many of us who use Thinkific, which is built as a learning management tool, don't use it necessarily as such, but we use it as a membership site, replacing a built-in membership site that you plug into WordPress, which are administrative nightmares to manage, where you could manage a community. In fact, we use it in conjunction with Patreon, but we've kind of cobbled together the pieces to make it look like a membership site because the administrative functions in Thinkific are so good. What's happening now is Thinkific is rolling out an entirely new, what do you call it, an offer, a new feature, which is an actual membership site capabilities. So can you take us through what that looks like?
I think internally we call it an epic.
Okay.
Because it's way beyond a feature. It's like an epic collection of features. And what that looks like is if you think what a Facebook group looks like, imagine taking that but being able to offer it inside your own website and control who has access to it, and in fact have multiple ones. So you can have this in your site, you can control how people get into it, who's in it, you can make it where it's tied to a subscription, so they're only in the group if they're paying a recurring subscription to be part of that community. You can share content in it just like you would within a Facebook group. It can also be tied to courses or bundles of courses, and then they're working on a few. So we have once a quarter we spend a week doing what we call Blue Sky Week or innovation, and one of the fun projects. Can't promise this goes right into production, but they're making it so that it'll be live updating, so you could actually use it kind of like you do live chat in things. So that's a whole nother level of having that live update. But really, it's a community built within your site, or a bunch of communities built within your site that you can have tied to courses or products or bundles that you're offering. And so someone could buy this course, get access to this community, subscribe to this membership, get access to this community. You could do things like review their assignments or have peer review on assignments, or just have it as a help area. But it creates like you mentioned, our Thinkific Facebook group, is probably one of the coolest places for course creators to hang out in terms of building community and getting advice from each other. Well, we're now giving you the ability to have that on your own, but actually inside your site to re-engage people. And one of the great things is that brings people back to your site. So rather than taking them to Facebook, it's bringing them back to your site to re-engage them with your content.
And so the more you customize that, the more the white label aspect of customizing the page is going to be really important. Now, I do have one kind of in the weeds question for you. Mm-hmm. Do you think that this will, that many course creators will then use this instead of a discussion platform like Discuss or something like that to manage the conversations that are happening? And how does that separate from the actual conversations within a course?
Right. So we have Discuss, which is an embed thing you'd embed. I don't generally recommend using that. There are concerns, a few concerns with it, and we actually have our own built-in discussion within the course. So communities is different than discussion within a course. Discussion within a course is, you're watching a video and you want to comment on it, you're taking a quiz, you're talking about it, you're talking inside the course. This community is a sort of, you then go to kind of a separate area where it's really just focused on the community, much like being part of that Facebook group. So it's not so much talking in and on the course, although it can be tied to a course. It's a whole separate community that you can be a part of. And so that takes it over there. I actually think the biggest comparison and yet competitor for us on this is Facebook groups. And so I still love Facebook groups. There's lots of really good reasons to have them. But when you start thinking about, you can't tie a Facebook group to a product. You can't tie it to a fee or a subscription very well. You can't moderate who gets in and out. Well, you can, approve people, but it's hard to kind of automate people getting into it when they join a program. And it's really hard to automate kicking people out when they leave the program or the program ends, things like that. So this gives you a lot more control, plus the privacy and control over data, plus that ability, which we see a lot of in Facebook these days, but also really it's tied to your site. So, groups are one of the reasons why people keep coming back to Facebook and re-engaging there. If you get to create that on your site, you create so much more engagement with your students, which helps drive completion and value and impact. And
every time we sell a course, and we always attach a Facebook group for the conversation, which is what most course creators do, I always have at least maybe 10% of the people in the course saying, I don't want to be in Facebook, Steve. What are my options?
Right.
And so I don't know whether or not that ultimately costs me sales. I can't say empirically whether it does, but it definitely costs them experience, the ones that sign up for the course but don't get to participate because they don't want to be on Facebook. This protects us from that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the other thing is when you're in Facebook, there's benefits of it for sure. I'm not, slashing Facebook at all, but there's benefits of going in there. But the drawbacks as well is if you sell someone into your community or your course and then you say, hey, go into Facebook, that's where a group is. When you get in there, Facebook now owns and controls what's going on. So if they want to show ads, if, people see pictures of their cousin pop up, you're kind of constantly competing with whatever Facebook wants them to see as opposed to kind of owning and controlling that experience.
Greg, I'm going to leave it there. We're just coming up to an hour, which is what we want for the product showcase. I think that we've answered a lot of questions. We've had great conversation coming from the community. I hope everybody's had a chance to meet somebody at your company. I feel that you have now discovered a great product for those of you that didn't know about Thinkific, and you've met the people behind it. Mission accomplished here as far as what our product showcase is. We've dropped the link in for the special offer that you have. I've got to thank you and your team for working so hard to help us out. I've got extra special thanks that I always have to give to Thinkific because they're a great community partner here in Vancouver. Where I live, their offices are here. They host our monthly YouTube meetup each and every month, which is helping foster the growth of a great and vibrant YouTube community here in Vancouver. So you guys just do a great job, and I believe you walk the walk as far as your company's morality and ethics and the type of people you have. So congratulations, Greg. I think that you've really done both the online community and the local business community here in Vancouver a great solid by your entrepreneurial efforts. So I just want to thank you for that.
Thanks so much, Steve. I really appreciate it. The two things I'll just say quickly. One, so they're on that offer page. So the link that we shared, it's in the chat. Just was going to share. So that the bigger part of it, so the actual group coaching calls and getting 3 months for free instead of just getting one, that's available while we're live. I think I'll ask Patty to extend it a little bit because I'm just sharing that now. I don't know if we mentioned before that there's a bit of a deadline on some of the extra bonuses.
Okay.
The rest of the stuff I think is available. There's still a great offer in there even if you don't grab it, but after this it'll go to 1 month and a bunch of really amazing classes that'll help you get up and running. And then the other thing is if people have more questions, just reach out. Happy to help. Super happy to help all the time. So I know we probably couldn't get to every question, but we're here and we love to help. That's really at the core of everything we do. So anything we can do to help, always happy.
Good stuff. And with that, I have to thank the team at Thinkific. Next week, we are going to be looking at a video email service called Bonjoro, which is a terrific tool for course creators, for anybody onboarding people. It's part of the sales cycle. It's definitely a content marketing tool. But Bonjoro is it's been a game changer for me as far as how I deal with my patrons at Patreon and welcoming them on board, making them feel welcome and validated, and making sure they access all of the perks that are involved. So you're going to want to keep your eye open on the feed. Most of you, I imagine, are part of our newsletter already, so we'll be sharing all of that information there. But on behalf of everybody, Greg, Patty, my team, all of us, till next time, have fun storming a castle.